Just going to do this little video on how to use Yorkshire Grit original. I've got a piece of Aruco here that I need to sand. I'm going to sand it from 120 to 240, ready to take our grit. So let's get it sanded up. So spend a bit of time on your preparation, making sure you got all your tool marks sanded out, making sure that you've got any nasty blemishes that you've got left after turning it, because preparation is the key. If you've got a good base to go from, then you're going to get a better finish. So just quickly sand this up to 240. So that's 120. .240. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sand and seal it. Make sure we seal it before we put the Yorkshire Grit on to give us our best finish. Or it works much better that way because you're not allowing the waxes and oil of the Yorkshire Grit to soak into the wood. Always like to give it a nice coat of sand and sealer so we've got a good seal on it. So now we've applied our sand and sealer, we can then apply a Yorkshire Grit original. So what we're doing is we're getting our tissue, folding our tissue up nice and neat, so we've got a bit of a comfort there, getting our Yorkshire Grit original, and we're applying the grit before we turn the lathe on so we get a nice coverage. So we're going to turn the lathe on about 400 RPM, and what we're doing is we're not putting any major pressure on it. We're allowing the abrasive paste to do all the work. We don't need to apply pressure. Like I say, the abrasion inside the paste is going to do the work for us, and as you can see, the actual dirt is being collected, or the sand and particles are being collected within the tissue, which is the major benefit of using Yorkshire Grit, is that you haven't got all them dust particles floating around in the atmosphere in your workshop and they're being withheld in the tissue. So it's much better for us, much better for the environment. So like I say, as you can see, it's all being collected in our tissue. So we're just going to keep working this until we finally feel that the abrasiveness in the paste is finished. Just going to gently speed the lathe up a little bit just so we can get the last of that abrasiveness in the paste to bring us up to our final grit of around about 1000. If you spend your time just gently working in the Yorkshire Grit, you should easily achieve the grit of around about 1000 on your finished piece, which will be ready to take your final finish. Because Yorkshire Grit is not a finish, it's an abrasive paste. So once you've done your Yorkshire Grit, cleaned all the grit off, you then need to apply your desired finish on your piece. So I can now hear that the abrasiveness is coming to an end. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the tissue and we're going to just gently wipe off any of the excess before we get a clean piece, just to buff it up. So let's just get a clean piece of tissue. Exactly the same, fold it so we've got that cushion. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to keep doing this until the tissue comes away clean. Then we know we've removed all our excess Yorkshire Grit. So it's still got a little smidge on there, so we're just going to change that until it comes away clean. Whoops. As you can see, there's a sheen coming on the piece already, and that's without our final finish on it. So tissue's now clean, coming away clean. So we know we've removed all our Yorkshire Grit. And there you go. That is now sanded up to 1000 grit. And you can either leave it there and put your finish on it, or you can go even further with the microfine. But that's a different video. Hope it helps.